All right, everyone, we have more good news. 24 hours after saying that Nikki Haley and Pompeo will not be part of the Trump administration. Thank you, Don. Better hiring practices this time around. Now, Tom Homan is going to head the border response. Yes, that Tom Homan. The one that said, yeah, fuck it, we're going to deport people. We're actually going to do our jobs. Liberals right now are goddamn outraged. Because there was one quip not long ago where people were talking about deporting people who have, minors, they have children and stuff like that. And he's like, oh, no, we can keep those families intact. We'll just deport them all. I support this. Now, it gets a little bit messy if you have somebody who has birthright citizenship. And I know that a lot of people on the right don't want to acknowledge this, but the law of the land effectively is that if you're born on U.S. soil, magical dirt, that you are a U.S. citizen for legal purposes. You can be naturalized and stuff like that. Or if you've got a parent who is a U.S. citizen. And there's nothing legally speaking really that can be done about that. I have mixed feelings on this issue myself. My first marriage was to a Mexican and my second marriage to a person from the Netherlands. My daughter is effectively a dual citizen. So I have maybe a little bit more of a nuanced view of the situation. Because technically speaking, if you are deporting someone, like let's say they have a U.S. parent, a mother or father, or guardian or something, but they were born on U.S. soil, deporting them wouldn't really make sense. But Homan's effective strategy here does make sense. The liberals have been concerned, oh my God, you're going to rip families apart. He's simply telling you he doesn't intend to do that. He's going to send the whole family back. Well, I don't see a problem with this. I think that we need to complete the border wall. That stymies people from coming in the first place. Legally go after the sanctuary cities and states. Make it clear that, much like the Biden administration created a legal precedent for exerting control over state borders along the Mexican border, telling Texas and Arizona they're not allowed to build their own border wall and stuff like that to compensate for the stupidity of the administration. If that's going to be the legal precedent, then why should, for example, a state within the United States be able to violate federal ordinances with regards to immigration and shelter people that are illegally in the country? Under what legal pretense are you going to be able to make that work? You've literally, unfortunately for the liberals, you do realize that the Biden administration handed people that want to defend the border a legal victory with their decision, ironically enough, attacking those southern states. The conservative government, especially of Texas at the time. It creates a legal precedent of federal supremacy over the issue. Does not matter whether it's an exterior or interior border at that point. I'm sure that the courts will find that way, by the way. So yes, Tom Homan will be border czar, which is a big improvement. We had brat girl summer, then we spanked the brats and defeated them, and now you have, the adults are back in charge. Daddy's coming home. You're about to be punished. So for people that are in the country illegally, sucks to suck, my dude. You probably should not have expected continuous neoliberal policies under Biden and then Harris and whatever administration comes after that. It was predictably defeatable. Also, I would say to the liberals, don't be too angry. Right now, the U.S. government effectively lets people in the country, hands them breadcrumbs, and then expects them to work like slaves in a tenuous, gray area legal zone where they don't really have human rights at all. They have basic civil rights, but they're not citizens. There's no pathway to citizenship. The Democrats have never seriously broached the issue, by the way, except during election season. Well, yeah, I believe in giving amnesty to some millions of people, okay, but then press them on how they're going to do that. Well, crickets. You don't hear anything further. That's to get people of certain ethnic blocs to vote for them during election season, only to ignore them thereafter. The Democrats have been doing this, by the way, for absolute decades. I wasn't even alive, they were already doing it. I was born in 1988, dude. They were doing it long before then. You promise people you're going to uplift them, get voted in, and then you ignore them. That's the uniparty line in general. The Republican unipartists have done the same thing. Well, if I'm elected, I'm going to get rid of this there gun control. I'm going to have lower taxes. And then they never do it. Other than Donald Trump. Since first term of Reagan, he's the only one that made an effort, actually. I am very, very pleased that Homan will be border czar. We need a hardliner to run the show there, because it's a goddamn mess. You can talk all you want about mercy and the huddled masses and all of these other things until you secure the border and make it clear that there is a pathway into the country, but you have to actually take that path according to our prescribed legal procedures as a country. Sign this paper, give this data, where are you from? Here's your passport. Okay, we've got that. Hire the lawyer and go to the meetings, learn English, etc. Assimilate to at least some reasonable degree. If you're willing to do that, you can come in. I think that there should be actually a more streamlined process for legal immigration. One of the big bitches that I've had about right-wing movements is that they have no pragmatic solution. People are automatically going to come in unregistered if you don't have a streamlined enough process. And I have no problem with people immigrating to the United States. But you do have to have an actual orderly mechanism to do that. Right now, we have a disorderly mechanism. Let's say that my name is Juan, and I was born in Mexico City. I've got two choices. Right now, I can walk across the border and get freebies, and in some states and cities, I'll literally get like, you know, a living wage just literally sitting there. And I'm used to poverty, so, you know, if I have to sleep with a roommate or something, trust me, that's no fucking problem. I'm getting free shit from the government. Or I can spend thousands of dollars and years of time going through the onerous legal process of immigration. Which the fuck one am I going to choose unless I've already got reasonable means? You know, I happen to, you know, I'm in Mexico, but I'm a doctor or something like that. You know, I make enough money so I can pay that fee. But if I'm an unskilled worker, I'm not going to go through the legal process. It makes no, you've disincentivized it. The U.S. government over the last few years has literally disincentivized people to immigrate legally. I would be very interested in seeing if there's a trade-off between the calculated, and it's just an estimate, flow of undocumented individuals versus the number of people who actually came in legally. I would be very interested in somebody crunching those numbers because I have a feeling that there's some sort of correlation and overlap between the two. Hey, I'm not going to spend 5,000 gringo bucks, you know, signing these papers and hiring a lawyer and all this shit. Why the fuck would I do that? All I have to do is walk across the border. They may or may not even catch and process me. Then they're just going to let me go. You know, well, what benefit is there of me wasting all of my money and time when I can just walk across the goddamn Rio Grande? And I know the propaganda about immigration is hilarious too, like the Haitians getting whipped there. You remember that one? And they weren't, but you know the legacy media ran with it, very quietly retracting their stories thereafter. Tom Homan will be border czar, and apparently Stefanik will be ambassador to the UN. Trump is already doing 1,000 times better with his hiring this time around than he did in 2016. All signs point to a very successful administration. I think that this is going to be better than the 4-year period that Trump reigned over before, which means that the liberals will do everything that they can to try to stonewall him. That's about all. Peace out.